come together. There was a reason why we wanted so badly to have us all together today around a memorial for Martin Luther King Jr. Because it's critically important for us to remember that the heart of that movement was that we are all together in this. We are all together in this society. We are all together in this community, pulling together towards justice and equity for every single one of us. This has been a very hard week for our community in particular. And it would not be right for us to come together and not take this opportunity to recognize that we lost a very important member of our community this week. So I would like to take a moment and sit together in community and silence in remembrance of Mrs. Michelle Heeb, a heart of Puyallup Heights. Thank you so much. You all have been doing great today. Let's keep this up. We have 3 incredible student speakers that are coming before you to do something very scary. So please give them your very best attention and give their message your full attention and your full consideration. It is important for us to hear it, especially on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Today we will be hearing from Bernard Guerra. Did I get it? Yeah. Ryan Atwood and Anaya Walden. Give it up for Bernard.
I love you too. So why are we here right now? 1968, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated for ending racism or something, right? One bad apple ruined it for everybody, but all the good non-racist Americans got so angry. Segregation ended anyway, right? I hate to be the one to break it to you, but King's killer wasn't some freak of his time like we might think. Today we're kind of taught about the civil rights movement and we see Martin Luther King Jr. as a hero. But when racism is state-sponsored, schools don't train you to see social change as a good thing. Over and over again, civil rights leaders are painted over for a more polite figure, such as Huey Newton, James Baldwin, Bayard Barnes, Malcolm X, Shirley Chisholm, Benjamin Davis, so many of them. Martin Luther King was so important to social change in America as it is today, but he did not act on it. And let me get one thing clear. We look at him like a hero now, but people saw him as a terrorist back then, or rabble rouser. When he died, he was seen as America's biggest troublemaker. And he was the polite one. Let me remind you, he didn't use violence to make his points. He led monumentous marches, he orchestrated massive boycotts, and he gave speeches touching millions of hearts. He politely explained to the masses how white people benefit off of black suffering, intentionally or not. Racism doesn't need you to believe in it for it to exist. And for informing people that their preferred way of life hurts people, they hated him, so much so that he was assassinated. When black people are legally barred from living in the same areas as white people, it's hard to understand how segregation is wrong. From the point of view of a person living in the neighborhood the government doesn't care about, you know which one. Segregation is obviously unfair, but if you live in the cul-de-sac with a white picket fence, 2 stories, good schools, understanding why anyone would want to change such a perfect system might feel difficult. Your way of life being interrupted so other people can actually live like humans would feel unfair. People who speak up would make you angry and seem ungrateful, like they don't appreciate everything America has done for them. Sentiment like they already freed you, what more could you want? Would you rather live in a hut somewhere? Irish people were slaves too, do you see them complaining? Was extremely common back then. I know because I've heard all these things in the past 5 years. I've heard each of these phrases and I'm sure that people were using them to invalidate people's experiences for years before. 54 years ago, people thought racism wasn't a real problem. Slavery was no longer legal, black people could technically vote, and Love You Virginia had just passed. All the liberties that black people had recently been afforded made people feel like they were on the same level, and this was obviously not true. Black people were still being abused. Black people were still unjustly imprisoned at rates higher than white people for the same crimes, and Black people were still prevented from voting. Right now, to this day, people think racism isn't a real problem. We had a Black president, interracial relationships are generally accepted, Floyd and Aubrey had their killers convicted, all the liberties that Black people have recently been afforded made people feel like we're on the same level. Obviously, this is not true. Black people are still being lynched. Black people are still disproportionately imprisoned for the same crimes at higher rates. Black people still aren't taken serious when we speak up against mistreatment. The long-term effects of 20th century redlining still deny certain people access to certain neighborhoods. Many students don't see themselves in their textbooks, and so much so that slavery was an unjustifiably wrong thing is almost an opinion in some classrooms. And most importantly, students who do speak up, people that speak up are still retaliated against. An example of what you're going to hear after this poem.
And now I'm here asking you to stand up with me. Stand up for what is right.
and Center for the Groups who work towards justice at our school. The Black Student Union, the Anti-Torture Group, and GSA. Thank you for your time, and hopefully we see a change. My Lindsay King provides now.
Ladies and gentlemen, these students put their heart and soul out here for you to listen to, and you all listened so well. I hope you contemplate their words, hold them in your hearts, and think about what we can do to make PHS a home for every single student that walks through their halls. I know it's chilly. I know those benches are not warm. So let's get the blood moving, and let's file back nicely back to PHS. Thank you so much for coming together on this day. I appreciate it.